This is a quick look at my setup. I've got my colors on the right, my iPad on the left, and a black and white on top. I usually start at the top and work my way down. This way I don't have my hands all over the colored pencil smudging it. I also have a piece of glassine under my hand. That also helps me from keeping the oils off of the paper. I usually pick sections and work it all the way to completion from top to bottom as well. Little chunks make this big project a lot easier to handle. Right now you can see I'm just working on the grip and the handlebar. Since this is a motorcycle, there's lots of chrome. You're going to be using lots of different color grays. I have warm grays and I have cool grays. Of course there's black in there too, and there's white. I also use some French grays. The warm grays have warmer colors mixed into them. The cool grays have more blues mixed into them. And then my blacks, I will mix a blue or a Tuscan red into those depending on where they are on the bike. If they're in a cooler area, something that's receding, they're going to get an indigo blue. But if there's something that's close up, or maybe since the oranges in this motorcycle's tank might be reflecting on them, then they're going to get that Tuscan red. You might see this picture kind of swivel a little bit, like right there. I have a artboard that the paper is on, but the artboard itself is on like a Lazy Susan, just a plastic one that you can buy at the store. And that really helps because I can turn at an angle and make it really fluid since it's on top of that Lazy Susan. Here you can see the handlebars and the grip, and it's probably got maybe 3 layers of color pencil on it, and there's going to be a lot more layers. Now we're working on the light here. What I'm doing is I'm using some sticky tack. It's like the stuff you put your posters up with, and any little black particles or gray particles from the handlebar, then I'm trying to get those off of there before I start in on this orange. I'm constantly going in with that sticky tack and cleaning up any white areas or cleaning up any areas that I'm going to be working on that I really don't want those colors in there. That really dark area there, I've mixed indigo blue and black, and I've just done layers back and forth until I get it as dark as I want. That indigo blue really helps set that area back in, and it gives it a lot of depth. Here's an area where I wanted to show you how I get the roundness of that handlebar just with the value colors. So I'm going in, the bottom area is darker, and as it moves towards the middle, it's going to get lighter. And the same thing from the top to the middle. And I'm just taking one value at the bottom, a darker value, and each time I step up just a little bit, I'll go up a different value. And then in the end, I'll blend them all together. Now you can see here I've switched up to the next lightest value, and I'm going over the darker value that I just did just a little bit, and then bringing it up a little bit into the lighter value that will be above it. I want the two of those two to mix as well. This is a blending tool. All it really is pure wax, and that's how I'm mixing those two values together. I'm getting the darker value and the medium value, and I mixed those, and then you can see I mixed that medium value up into that lightest value of color that I already have on there. This nice blending makes it look like it's a rounded shape. That upper section there is pretty much well done. I'll check it when I get a little bit more work done on this and check the values and see what else might need to be done. But I call that good for now. You might wonder why I'm using that vermilion orange there. That's chrome. Why would there be orange in chrome? But do remember that there's reflections all over this picture. And since the tank is orange in color, some of the chrome is also going to reflect some of that orange. Not nearly as much happened in this pictures as I thought it would, but there's definitely some areas that are reflecting that tank color. I wanted you to see what the black in the tank looks like after the first couple of layers. This is kind of my road map. You can see all of those reflections. There's a house in there, the person who took the picture, and I believe there's even the other handlebar is reflected in there. So I'm pretty much well done with that black area, and I'm moving on to the orange area. I need to make sure that I'm really careful here because of those reflections. A lot of times I'm really just looking at value and shape, and I'm not really looking at what the reflections represent. And I need to make sure that my edges in the orange meet my edges in the black or gray areas. What I mean by that is, if say it's a house and part of the house is in the black area and part of the house is in the orange area, I need to make sure those two lines meet up. Now that seems like common sense, but when you're only looking at values and shapes, sometimes you will forget that. You might be able to see an example of that where I'm working here with this darker orange. I've got the roof going right now. If you look down into the blacker area, you can kind of see the house and maybe a window there. I need to make sure all of those lines match up from the orange area to the black area. I moved on to the larger chunk of the orange section in the tank, and then onto the black section there. See how taking it just section by section makes this big job a lot more doable. Now this whole lower section could become a big old mess if you just don't take it little section by little section. Especially if you're like me and you don't know what any of these parts are. That actually kind of helps, because that really helps my brain look at values and just shapes and colors. I went in with a lot of indigo in here because all of that area is receding. Then I will go back and forth between indigo and black until I get a full saturation, with usually black being my last color. Wanted you to see this roadmap of indigo blue. I know those areas are going to be receding, so I want them to be really dark and really cool. Cool colors recede, so that indigo is really going to help me out. Since I know these are going to be some of my darkest colors in this section, I want to get that value in there first. Then I can judge. Once I get that darkest value in there, I can judge my middle value and my light value accordingly. Let's take a closer look at this area. There's some things that I recognize. I can recognize some of the wire tubings and the bolt there. So I want to be able to represent those, but I still need to be just looking at values and shapes. That's really going to help me out so much better. I'm continuing to look to see what is receding and what is popping forward. I mean, really physically popping forward, what's closer to my body or my eye and what's farther away from me. And those farther away areas, like I'm working on now, those are going to have to be cooler colors. Underneath the area that I'm working now, I believe that's a air cleaner cover. I might be wrong. Don't laugh at me. But that's going to sit out. That's like a shiny chrome color. So that's really going to be closer to me. And I want that to actually look like it's closer to me, even though I'm on a two-dimensional plane. Here you can see I have all of those darks completed. My last little section for this area anyway is that air cleaner cover. And now I can really be able to judge those values to make sure that that really pops and comes towards you. When I'm talking about values, I'm not just talking about paying attention to your values as a whole, but in different sections too. this area right here, it curves and it moves back into the bike area. So you really have to be thinking about the cooler colors, the cooler grays and blacks going away from you. Any of the warm grays are going to be coming at you. They're going to appear closer to you. These steps will really help your rendering look shiny where it's supposed to be shiny. This piece is approximately 8 by 10 and it took me about 2 months to finish. That's how slow color pencil is. I normally allot about 3 months, but I really worked hard and heavy on this one because it was a Christmas present to a lovely couple that this is their very first Christmas. So Merry Christmas. Please like and share this video. Also comment. I want to know what you think about it. If you think that you might want a commissioned piece of your motorcycle or car, please contact me at teresasarttablet@gmail.com.